I'm Moshe Popak. Today we're talking about something that nobody really loves, but everybody has to deal with, and that's property taxes. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to get political here. I just want to break it down in a way that makes sense. Talk about why they matter for families and communities, and then share some of the perks of owning real estate from a tax perspective. Here's the funny thing about property tax. You think when you buy a property, you own it, right? You sign the papers, you get the keys, you're the owner, but then every year you get that property tax bill. And it kind of feels like, wait a second. Do I actually own this, or am I just renting from the government forever? Think about it. When you buy a chair or a table, you pay sales tax one time and you're done. You don't keep paying tax every year just for owning it. But with property, you're on the hook every year. It's like a recurring subscription fee for owning a home or an investment property. So where does that money go? Well, property taxes fund local services, schools, police, fire departments, roads, infrastructure. And in theory, that's great because those things matter for communities. Nobody's against safe neighborhoods and good schools, but here's where I get frustrated. In the private market, you're forced to run lean and efficient. In government, not so much. There was a stat I saw that said that government projects can cost up to 10 times what private industry would spend. And you see it. Public housing that's run down, bloated bureaucracies, waste. Here in Florida, over the last few years, when property values went up, counties collected way more in property taxes. And instead of being super careful with those dollars, a lot of it ballooned into higher salaries for executives, extra spending, and not necessarily better services for families in the community. Accountability becomes a big issue. Here's something I thought about. Florida has about 120 million tourists every year. That's insane. People coming to Disney, Miami Beach, the Keys, you name it. Now imagine instead of just hammering residents with higher property taxes, what if we tapped into sales tax from those tourists in a smarter way? Spread the load across 120 million annual visitors. Even if each tourist chipped in indirectly through a few $100 in taxes in what they're already spending, that's billions of dollars. That can relieve some of the pressure on families and homeowners. So I'm not saying I have the perfect solution, but there are ways to rethink the system so it's not always the people living here footing the biggest bill. Now here's the good news. One of the best reasons to own real estate is the tax benefit. If you're a W-2 employee with a salary, you don't really have a lot of ways to shield income. You get taxed, and in some states, almost half your money is gone between federal, state, and local. That's rough. You're basically working half the year for the government. But with real estate, the game changes. One of the biggest perks is depreciation. Thanks to tax laws, you can buy a property and then write off a portion of its value every year, even though you didn't actually spend that money. There was a big change a few years ago where you can write off huge chunks up front. Let me give you an example. You buy a $1 million investment property, on paper, you might be able to show a $300,000 loss year one because of depreciation, even though in reality, you're still collecting rent and cash flow. The paper loss offsets your taxable income, and you don't get that kind of benefit in most other businesses. So when you combine that depreciation with the fact that real estate generally appreciates over time, plus the ability to defer taxes with things like 1031 exchanges, you're keeping way more of your money in your pocket to reinvest. And that's how you build wealth. It's not always about how much profit you make on a single deal. It's about how much you can keep, reinvest, and compound over years and decades. That's why I always say in real estate, a penny saved is truly a penny earned. So here's my takeaway for you. Property taxes, yeah, they can feel like rent you pay to the government forever. They fund important stuff, but they also come with bloat and inefficiencies. As a homeowner or investor, it's something you just have to understand and plan for. But on the flip side, real estate gives you incredible tools to protect and grow your wealth through tax advantages. If you're strategic, you can legally shield income, compound over time, and put yourself in a much stronger financial position than if you were just earning a salary and paying half of it away. So property taxes aren't going anywhere, but if you understand them and you play the game smart with real estate, You can make them work for you instead of against you. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to my podcast or my YouTube channel. Your support means the world to me. Expect more of these takes from me each week. I'll see you soon.